I'm Lala, this is Flavors of New York, and I am standing in the heart, in the center of Chinatown. And if you have not heard of this place yet, I guarantee that you will soon. It's a tiny little Vietnamese spot that maybe you might have walked past, but now that it's summer, you can't miss it. Chef Gerald is doing amazing things here at MAM. We are going to check it all out. So in the past, Chef Gerald has been doing a different dish a week. It usually lasts for about a week. Sometimes he'll continue it if it's doing well. Currently they're doing bun dao, but the last time I was here, it was a beautiful bowl of broth with sea clams, and he always has the house-made tofu. But yeah, it's a good incentive to come back next week because odds are it's gonna be different. So I'm here with Chef, the man, Chef Jerald. Hi.
Hey.
So this.
We're in Vietnam right now.
Well, I just want to say that like this weather is just adding to your vibe because this,
Yes.
this feels good. This feels like Vietnam. This is how it should be, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like sitting on these little stools out here.
Yeah, sure. I bring these tables and chairs from Vietnam.
So,
you can't get them out here.
So they're super authentic.
Yes,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Yeah.
All right, so we should probably go inside.
Cool.
It's a little more scenic.
Yeah.
But this is where I like to be. But yeah, let's get into it.
What's it?
Cool.
So today we are making bún đậu mắm tôm. This is my absolute favorite Vietnamese dish. If I had to choose one dish to represent Viet food, this would be it.
So stoked.
Yeah, everything we make in house with a lot of love, starting with our tofu. This was made this morning. I'm going to cut it up, drop it in the fryer for you guys. It takes about 5 minutes to fry. Here we have a sticky rice sausage. We actually bring the young sticky rice from Vietnam. You can't get it out here. There's specific seasons that they have in Hanoi. It's called clam. We fold it into the force meat, basically a whipped pork sausage. And it gives it like a glutinous like texture, as well as a more of a nutty profile. Here we have
I'm salivating.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, but I am.
here we have intestines that have been marinated and roasted. I'm going to drop them in the fryer to get them crispy. It's been marinated in annatto oil and aged rice wine.
Had me at
salt,
marinated
sugar.
intestines. Chef.
And this guy is our blood sausage with a lot of herb, pork blood, pork fat.
Which you also make in house.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is what we use to make the tofu. This is basically a steam kettle. And how it works is there's a reservoir of water inside here, and there's two little holes, I'm sure you can't necessarily see them, that shoot out steam. So it essentially steams the soy milk as opposed to like heat coming from underneath and causing it to scorch. So it'll never scorch in here. This was a big piece brought back. So.
I love how you bring everything back from Vietnam.
Yes,
It's
absolutely,
So rad.
absolutely. And here is my bún. This is rice noodle. We press it into little cubes to try to mimic what they would serve in Vietnam. In Vietnam, they have access to fresh rice noodle. So as the rice noodle is coming out and they're extruding it, it goes into boiling water and then it gets brought out on a conveyor belt, cooling it down. And then you have somebody at the other end catching it and collecting the bún in their hands and making like a little leaf out of it. And that would make it, thus being called bún lá, which translates to leaf rice noodle. This is probably the thing that we have spent a lot of time banging our heads on, trying to get it like Vietnam. We don't have access to fresh rice noodle here, but the rice noodle out there, it's like soft. Like if you've ever been to Mexico and had a taco, then you would understand if you compare that to like a taco in the States. You know, just the tortilla hits different. Same goes with the rice noodle. If you've had pho, same thing. Like all the rice noodle in Vietnam is just.
We gotta go pick up some surf clam, right, Chef?
Yeah, we're going to Aquabest. Probably the best seafood purveyor in New York City. So it's right around the corner up here.
Let's go on a field trip. Get it, get it, get it.
Surf clams, cool. So we probably go through about 30 to 40 of these a week. It's a big hit. I'm gonna look for a nice happy guy for us, for the restaurant. Oh, there we go.
Oh, hey, happy guy.
Cool.
Looks like a winner.
No, alphabets. Surf clams. Hey man, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm starting on my summer lobster thing again, so you'll see me. Bye.
Give them a little rinse. Surf clam, alternatively known as dummy clam. They have a very fresh, buttery profile, and as we process them and cut them, the meat will seize up, getting crunchy. They have 2 abductors. I'm going to find them, cut them, and the shell will release. 1, 2. Cut up the little scallops. So I'm going to take off the skirt, take out this sand, take out the scallop, also discard, give it another little bath, make sure there's no sand, cut this guy in half. Kind of remove that soft, pulpy texture. Open here. And I'll give my cutting board one more rinse.
Such an efficient kitchen too. It's like everything's just right here.
I tried. You kind of see it curling up. See that? Add this to the bowl. Snow fungus, Vietnamese coriander. This is just a little MSG, salt, and sugar.
Yum.
Some lime juice. Nước chấm.
Of course.
And a little mixy mix. So I'll use this little napkin to kind of prop up the shell. Going out.
Gorgeous.
Going out.
I just can't say it the same way that you can. But I'll eat it.
Here I just have some poached pork belly. I'm just gonna slice up. Slice the Persian cucumbers. So my tofu is nice and crispy. My intestines are looking good. See if I can flush them out. Chacom. That's it. Now I'm gonna garnish it with some herbs. Shiso, basil, fish mint.
Beautiful. Obviously, we have a lot to eat, but we also have a lot to talk about.
Sure.
Because I just need to know everything about your story. But let's start with, this is called bún đảo.
Bún đảo.
Correct? Okay, so last time I was here, which was about a month ago, you were doing the surf clam noodle dish, the bún hen.
It was a shore clam.
Shore clam.
Yeah,
Okay.
shore clam.
Correction.
Yeah.
Shore clam.
That was a rice noodle dish with clam broth, with short clams and mussels, with mussel sausage,
It was insane.
Fried tofu. Yeah.
It was the first time that I had had that tofu, and it blew my mind. And then I found out that you made it from scratch, and I was like, well, duh, of course he did. So you basically do the one dish. How long are you going to be running with this one?
This one, probably for the rest of summer. It's a big hit. You can't really get it on the East Coast, at least not like this. We're gonna run this all summer. You know, we often have people coming from Pennsylvania, Boston, Virginia coming to get this dish. They can't really get it anywhere else. Our main clientele would probably be about 70% Vietnamese. You can't get this dish anywhere else. So
you got to come get it here. Well, let's start with these clams,
all right, cool.
Shall we?
Yeah, please get in there.
Because
Eat this a million times.
Help yourself. We went and bought the clam, the lime juice.
I mean, just the note of the clam, it's like so buttery.
The clam,
fresh.
The texture of that clam, all of the flavors play so well together.
Yeah. The texture contrast of the snow fungus and the clam together.
It's perfect. It's like what I want to eat all summer long.
Yeah, it's great.
Good Lord. So will this be on the menu?
For sure, yeah. This has been a staple of ours for the past 2 years or so when we were doing pop-ups. Yeah, it's a crowd hit. People love it, so I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, especially with Aquabest right around the corner.
Yeah. You are a traditionalist usually, right?
For sure.
You pretty much are by the book, but you were saying that this dish not necessarily. Tell me why.
Well, you know, for me, when I cook Vietnamese food, I try to cook it with a lot of love and respect. I'm not trying to reinvent anything necessarily, especially as a white guy who didn't grow up eating Vietnamese food. This isn't necessarily my food, but this dish in particular, the surf clam, you wouldn't necessarily find in Vietnam. They don't commonly eat raw seafood or shellfish, but this one is a great representation of Viet cuisine with the play of textures and right fish
and
sauce.
all the flavors are there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, epic.
So this is bún đậu mắm tôm. Bún being the rice noodle, đậu being the tofu, mắm tôm is the star. This kind of brings it all together. This is a fermented shrimp paste.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an advanced level of fish sauce.
You have this on the wall when you walk in.
100%. We brought back 100 liters of this from Vietnam, Thanh Hoa, Vietnam.
Oh my God.
The mecca of mắm tôm. If you've never had this before, it's like seeing a new color.
Seeing a new color. That's such a beautiful way to put it.
I mean, it's just really just like, you know, I'm sure this could be about to be your first time trying it right now.
So I'm supposed to take these elements with.
First step, you want to get the mắm tôm.
Okay.
Put it right here.
All right.
And you want to give it a good mix.
Great.
See if it's gonna bubble for me. See how it starts to activate and get frothy?
Yes.
With the acidity mixing with mắm tôm. That's how you can tell you have good quality mắm tôm when it bubbles like that. Okay. Cool. And then how we're going to enjoy this, you just basically get it, dip. I like to get in there.
Gotta get in there. Y'all, this is like seeing a new color. It's so pungent.
It's pungent.
And wild, and the flavor of that fermented shrimp. Wow. It hits you, and it is beautiful. It is delicious. So we're just dipping everything in there, yes?
Yep.
All right.
So we just tried the tofu. This is the grilled intestine.
I'm going for the intestine.
Crunchy, fatty.
Yes.
It's honestly probably one of my favorite bites on the
Oh
tray.
my God. Serious. That should just like replace fried calamari as like an appetizer, just a pile of it, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so now we're heading over to this.
This is the sticky rice sausage. You see the pale green is the bowl inside of there. That's the sticky rice that we brought back from Vietnam. This is
just
easy
looking
to
at it, right? It's like, look at that. The texture in that is insane.
It's a whipped pork sausage as well, so it has that bouncy.
Bouncy is indeed the correct word for that.
You know, it's kind of going back to the surf clam. You know, Viets, they like to, for me, I would say balancing textures is almost as important as balancing flavors. Mm-hmm. Like where they have crunchy, soft, bouncy.
This is such a representation of that.
Sure, for sure.
The soft and the crunchy.
And you'll get that for sure
the
when
fatty.
you get to the blood sausage.
All right, let's
where
get in
it's
there.
stuffed in the intestine itself, poached. So the intestine on the outside does have a little bit of a chew.
Right.
And you see the herbs still kind of maintain their green in there. It's filled with herb. You see, get a camera a better shot.
I can only imagine how labor intensive it is to make this.
Hours.
Yeah.
Easy hours. Probably like a 4-hour job to clean the intestines. Another 4 hours to actually prep the blood sausage.
The herbs in there, they just
Sorry, which one?
sing. That is a delicious bite.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that is the poached pork belly, just very simply prepared, lightly cooked, so the skin still has that bite. Poached with aromatics like lemongrass, shallot, and ginger, and then sliced.
I love the snap. Everything has like a little snap to it. The texture, the cooling cucumbers, the herbs. Yum! Hello!
Hi.
And this is your wife.
Yeah, easy.
This is a family affair.
Yeah. So we have 3 drinks for today. And one.
Oh my goodness.
So homemade soy milk
Okay.
and a wheat drink with longan, dreaded, and monk fruit.
Okay.
And that's some calamansi black tea with ice. That's mostly
Crowd favorite.
yeah, mostly the people.
So again, we have fresh made soy milk, herbal medicinal tea with dried longan, Chinese dates,
and monk fruit.
and monk
And monk
fruit.
fruit.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
For now, I love the herbal drink.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really good for you, healthy,
Uh-huh.
and the sweetness comes just from natural,
Yeah.
like from red date, for longan,
No added sugar.
a little bit to make it like
Balance.
balance. Yes, and but calamansi is a good choice for summertime.
Yeah.
Summertime,
Yeah,
especially with
fresh.
this dish because it's so like bright and acidic, kind of cleans the palate after the
Yeah.
mâm tôm. In Vietnam, you would see this drink paired with bún đào
All the time?
All the time.
Love it. I haven't had this one.
Soy milk with some pandan leaf.
The pandan leaf really adds a whole different dimension to that soy milk.
Almost like vanilla.
Yeah. Oh, yum.
Herbal tea.
But it's not just herbal tea. Like everything is stepped up. Everything has like an extra layer. Everything has
Sure.
something else going on, right? You're so humble. I was like, herbal tea. It's not. Way better. And this is the calamasi, which I have already been drinking today. All right, so let's get into this. As a white man who you just said did not grow up eating this food, and I don't even want to call this like a passion for you because it goes, I feel like beyond that. Would you call it an obsession? Like, how did this happen?
Sure. Well, I mean, it definitely comes from passion. I recognized at a very young age that restaurant industry is what I wanted to do
Yeah, you've been a chef for how long?
since I was 15. Well, I've been in the industry since I was 15. The chef title, whatever, anybody could say. But I've been in the industry since I was 15, so about 15 years.
Right, but you didn't start off cooking Vietnamese food.
No, that happened when I was 20 years old. So it's been about 10 years I've been cooking Vietnamese food. I think the obsession part comes from just me wanting to be the best and serve Vietnamese food in the best light possible in terms of its authenticity. Yeah.
So where are you from originally?
I was born in Indiana and grew up in Texas.
Okay, so you started your cooking career in Texas?
Yep.
Moved to New York when you were how old?
I moved to New York when I was 23, so
Had you already
22.
been you'd already been cooking Vietnamese food then or no?
Yes, I have.
In Texas.
In Texas, yeah, I had a little food truck actually called Tim Doy. And it was my buddy and I, and we would cook Southeast Asian food from Thai, Burmese to Vietnamese. I was actually working at a Southeast Asian bar, and the chef at the time had gifted me a Vietnamese cookbook, Charles Fawn, Slanted Door. And
Yes,
that's what kind of was
from the
like,
Bay.
yeah, exactly. And that just really opened my eyes. I read the book front to back, executed like 80% of the recipes.
So that's what started it.
That was the doorway for sure.
Okay, got it.
for
That
sure.
was the slanted door was the
Slanted
proverbial door.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you start cooking, you go through that book front to back, you start a food truck. And then
The food truck kind of catapulted me to New York. It gave me the confidence to be able to perform in a city like this where it can be kind of cutthroat. And you know, my main purpose of coming to New York was to kind of sharpen my skills, if you will. You know, this is the mecca.
a big city.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is where people come for a reason. And yeah, I came to New York and I applied for 2 restaurants, 11 Madison Park. 'cause
Oh, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a restaurant out
Yeah,
there, yeah.
it's a restaurant.
But yeah, my background was originally in fine dining, so I applied at 11 Madison Park in Anjoy. That was on Orchard Street. I
Okay.
did a bunch of research on Viet restaurants at the time, and that was one of the ones that stood out to me. And blossomed a relationship with the people who also opened up Diang Di, and that's how I became affiliated with that restaurant.
Okay, so you worked there. You did not work at EMP.
No, they didn't
That's-
respond to my email.
What-
were they thinking? I don't know.
Whatever. They're lost.
Yeah.
And then you ended up at D&D in
Well,
Greenpoint.
Well, that's a little fast track. I went to Anjoy, which was the owners of Diang Di's first restaurant.
Got it. So that's what led you there.
Yeah,
When was your
so-
first trip to Vietnam?
Yeah, after I had worked at Anjoy, I decided to go to Vietnam.
And what year was that?
That was 2016.
You speak fluent Vietnamese, correct?
I speak Vietnamese.
Speak.
I don't know how fluent.
Your wife's laughing. How's his Vietnamese? I'm much better.
Perfect. Many people. I mean, people amazed about his Vietnamese. I mean, people always wow, like they love it. They love it. They love to hear him speaking Vietnamese. Yeah.
They don't expect to hear that out of the wife.
No, it's true. Sometimes like there'll be people like outside like waiting, and they're just like waiting for me to speak Vietnamese. And as soon as I do, they just like light up. They're so happy.
So the first time you went to Vietnam, were you just like, holy hell? I mean, the smells, the motorbikes, the fast pace, it's so chaotic in such a beautiful way.
To me, it was just very mind-blowing of how much in my element I was. I was just so comfortable and happy. Yeah, it was my first time traveling, or no, I wouldn't say it was my first time traveling out of the country by myself, but it was definitely the most meaningful. I was there, I bought a one-way ticket, ended up staying there for 3 months, met my wife.
On that first trip?
On the first trip.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
No.
Destiny.
No.
I know. He wanna stop me about telling the story that how we met.
I hear it all the time.
I love that. It was destiny.
Yeah, no, it was great.
And you've been back how many times since?
Oh, damn, I can't even. I filled up my entire passport with visas.
Yeah.
I'm on a second passport now. But
All right.
now I have a 5-year visa, so.
Oh, amazing. So let's fast forward. D&D, you were there for a while.
I opened up D&D in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. I was there for the past 5 years. That was a great experience. That was after Anjoy, but there was a restaurant in between that had helped Alex Stupak open up Midtown.
Okay.
His taqueria in Midtown.
And
I
beyond.
had taken a break from Vietnamese food for a little bit, and then Tuan had hit me up for the Diang Di opportunity. And that was the first restaurant that I really got to put my DNA into, and just like, I was a CDC there, so to like create the menu. At that time, I had already traveled to Vietnam probably like 3 or 4 times, so I was able to kind of release the inspiration there. And I mean, I'm sure you've been to Diang Di, but it was really, really
Yeah.
hot the first year or 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we were doing things like the rice paper pizza, the rice paper salad, dishes like that.
This started off as a pop-up, correct?
Oh, yeah. So this started off in the pop-up in the heart of the pandemic. I was laid off of work. I was separated from my wife for about 4 or 5 months. Whenever she was able to come to the States was around September of 2020. We were just kind of taking some time for ourselves, and it was our first time actually able to, kind of plan our lives together, because before it was a long distance. We were traveling back and forth, with always like a ticking clock over our head, like,
Right,
I
yeah.
gotta go back, and so it was
Yeah.
our first time of like finally together, plan and like, do what we love. And we were just cooking a lot at home. Pandemic, you can't really go out and do anything, and we were cooking this dish. It was really great, and somebody had reached out to us, offering us their space for the weekend, and so we did that.
You did your first pop-up.
Yeah, it was actually here at this space.
Oh my God, Kismet.
The restaurant
That's
was
so cool.
Bepka at the time. It was like a chicken pho restaurant,
Okay.
and the owner of the space is a good friend of ours, and he had invited us to take over his space on the weekends.
And so how did this pop-up then lead to this brick and mortar?
Well,
Because
it
you
was a
guys
big
were
hit.
you were
Yeah.
so popular. I mean,
Yeah.
you're obviously still so popular.
Yeah.
You can't come here without a reservation, people. Just let it be known. So how long now has it been in this space permanent?
We're coming up on a year in May. We did take a sabbatical for 3 months in November, and we came back in February. But yeah, it's been a year trying to figure out in this tiny space. We do easy 80 to 100 people a day.
And you're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct?
Yeah, for right now. Yeah, we are trying to logistically figure out how we can expand our hours.
But I mean, you must have hours and hours and hours worth of prep that people don't even see before you
for
open
sure.
your
Yeah,
doors.
yeah.
So.
A lot of people ask us like, why 3 days? They don't understand that. I mean, I'm still working 4 other days.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, mentally like 0 days off, but yeah, we definitely do try to strike a work-life balance, especially with our baby boy at home. So
Good
this,
for
right
you
now,
guys.
this makes the most sense for us, but we do want to capitalize on the space and open up for more days.
I want you, before we end this conversation, to show me your beautiful wall of deliciousness back
Absolutely.
there. Can we go talk about that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so up there.
Yeah, no, we have to
Yeah.
talk about this guy first. This is
What we
this
were
is
just
the
eating.
gold. Yeah, this is the mamtong. I don't think you can catch smell in the camera, but it's funky. As I said, we brought 100 liters of this back. So this is more of the paste, and we'll thin it out with other ingredients.
I wish smell-o-vision did exist. Why don't we have that technology?
But yeah, I mean, if we don't have that, then we don't have bundao. We don't necessarily want to compromise and use any other thing else. This is top tier.
All right, what else do we have?
Damn, I mean, we have so much here. This is all like live ingredients that we use. But yeah, up here, this shelf is more of like the spices. We have green peppercorns. Oh, this is a fun one. This is maken, which is a, I guess in English they call it prickly ash. This is like a peppercorn that they would use in indigenous cooking. It has a very citrusy note.
Ooh, it really does.
It's bright.
It is great.
Maken.
It's beautiful.
This is also an ingredient that we bring back from Vietnam. You can't buy it here. Specifically the Northern Highlands. We've got black pepper here. This is also from Vietnam. The peppercorns were ripened on the tree. Cinnamon, coriander. This is wolfberry. We were using this guy for the goat hot pot. It's kind of like a sweet dried fruit smell. Right? Round.
Good.
Yeah. Black cardamom. This is another fun one from Vietnam. This is a hat zoi. It smells like a smoky tonka bean.
Oh my god, it sure does. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this guy.
It's like a mezcal tonka bean.
Yeah, so this guy and the maken that I showed you is used to make this guy, cham cheo, which there's a region in northern Vietnam where they don't eat with fish sauce and they eat with this guy.
Oh my god,
cham cheo.
Vietnamese food
Yeah.
with no fish sauce?
I know, it's hard to imagine, but it's true. Yeah. So
That's
that's the
beautiful.
2 spices that you smelled with like sugar, salt.
Okay, let's talk about down here. We've got a lot of like fermentation things happening.
I have
and-
some stuff down here. This is our aged rice wine, Mai Quello. This is what we used in the grilled intestines. So the rice wine ages for a minimum of 1 month.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we also
Cinnamon?
use this, a lot of cinnamon, all kinds of spices, orange peel. This is a great thing that we would use also for our Chinese sausage that we make in-house.
Let's talk about those worms.
Sea worms. This is a big hit. This is a very rare product. Even in Vietnam, it's kind of hard to find. But back in the day, they would use these guys in any type of broth, like pho broth, to provide like a sweet note. So, see if I can get a couple out. Okay. Sea worm. So they're dried. This is from Vietnam, northern Vietnam specifically.
You can't get these here, right?
You can, but they're like $300 a pound.
Jesus
super
God.
super expensive. Even in Vietnam, it was. We got 2 kilos for $100. So
Much
more
better.
affordable, yeah.
Yes. Obviously, it's going to be banging out there during the summer. It's going to be such a vibe. You're bringing back more tables and chairs, and you're going to line
Yes,
the street like you did
absolutely.
last year.
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
so y'all, if you haven't been to MAM, you have to come. You got to make reservations online, right?
As of right now, we do have limited space for walk-ins, but reservations are preferred, so we can have some more organization for our service.
Yeah, and you don't want to get turned away because this place gets packed.
Or wait in line for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then write a bad Google review.
Come visit these guys. This is Mom for Flavors of New York. This is Chef Gerald. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is cute. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
You
coming
guys,
over.
amazing.
Thank you so much.
Support their business. Check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you guys for Flavors of New York. I'll see you next time. Bye.